You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Happy Sunday morning, everybody. I'm Scott Couch. We are here to talk politics. I've got a great panel. Let me introduce everybody and we'll wade in because time is always of the essence. Jasper Hendricks, Democratic strategist, chair of the Metro Fair Board. You missed last week as you were out of town. We're glad to have you back, sir. Rick Williams is back with us on that side of the desk. GOP strategist, very active in both Governor Lee's campaign as well as Andy Ogles, the 5th District Congressman's campaign. Nearest me, Megan Lee Podsiedlik back with us, conservative commentator and a writer for the Pamphleteer. It's a conservative outlet. If you're not reading her daily, I do. You should do that. And Brian Cordova, executive director of the Tennessee Democratic Party. Wonderful to see you again, sir. It's been a couple of weeks. Glad to have you back in.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Guys, I want to wade right in, and before we get into the heavy political topics, I just wanted to take one quick moment, and I'm not asking anybody really to comment on this, but I just wanted to mention the passing of a couple of long-serving Metro judges who retired a couple of years ago, but such long-serving servants in this community, grand gentlemen both, and I'm talking about Randall Wyatt and Bill Higgins. Rick, you mentioned you were at Bill's visitation. Was it Thursday, Friday?
On Friday, yeah.
And Randall's visitation's on Sunday, and funeral is
it'll be this afternoon. His visitation right. Sunday afternoon. Right.
Just wanted to let the families know we appreciate their service, respect both of these gentlemen, and offer our condolences. I want to wade right in to a really heady topic. Didn't get a lot of news press in Nashville. I'm thinking maybe it got more in East Tennessee, but if the legislature was in session, we'd have talked about it, I suspect, more. State Senator Ken Yager, we'd known he'd been picked up down in Georgia for a DUI. He's a Republican out of Kingston, long-serving state lawmaker, someone who holds positions of leadership in the legislature. Well, he pleads guilty this week to no contest to misdemeanor DUI less safe. I'd never heard of this charge. He was picked up for DUI. The charge was pleaded down in Georgia. The cases that were dismissed are just as interesting, though. Hit and run, a regular DUI charge. It was amended. Failure to yield leaving the scene of an accident. Senator Yager has apologized, and he's promised that this would never happen again. But my question is an apology enough for the behavior that we've learned about? Not only what you pleaded guilty to, but what was actually done. Should he resign? Should he lose his leadership? He's chairman of some committees. And Rick, I'll start with you on the Republican side. Not to put you on the spot, but your opinion, sir.
Well, I think this was the first time he'd ever been in trouble. And so I would give him some grace on that. And I would say if it happens again, though, there should be some issues, maybe his chairmanship taken away or he resign. But given this was his first time, let's hope it doesn't happen again and he's learned from what he's been through.
No doubt. Clearly, everybody deserves a second chance. However, when you are a public figure in this way, my question to you, sir, is should he be held to a higher standard? What do you think should happen? What do you think should be recommended?
It's not just because he's a public official. The facts of the case was that he hit something or someone, and then he left the scene of a crime. And in Tennessee, leaving the scene of a crime, whether it's a DUI or a hit and run, whether it's a DUI or a non-DUI, it is a crime. And so he committed a crime, and he's able to commit a crime, and that's and get away with it pretty much because the party of law and order is allowing this to happen, and so when you take a look at who's held to what standards, I think it's very interesting that the average citizen who would have done the same thing, who have done similar things and less egregious things, are actually behind bars. Their licenses have been suspended. They've had several thousands of dollars in fines. They've had to have interlocks put on their vehicles. He was driving a vehicle that he uses campaign funds to pay for. So this was quote unquote his official vehicle. And so for him to, be using the official vehicle and drinking and being behind the wheel, and statistics show that when you get caught with a DUI, it is actually not your first time doing it. You've done it before. You've done it several times. This is just the time you've actually happened to have gotten caught. And this is speaking from someone who actually have been charged with a DUI, over 10 years ago. And so, what I went through, for my mistake that I made, I still lost my driver's license for a year. I still had to have an interlock put on my vehicle for a year. I still had to pay the fines. And I just think that this sends the wrong message, to people, that if you have a position of power, you could just say, I'm sorry, and no matter what law you have been charged of breaking, it is excused.
It's worthy of conversation, and I wanted to bring it up to the group. You say what, Megan Lee?
I'll make it short and sweet. I think it is a rules for the situation. We've seen this quite a bit with some leadership here in the state, and I think that Republicans, GOP, people across the state, if they don't want to see this anymore, they should bring that opinion to the ballot box, and if they're not going to be held accountable by court, then maybe they should be held accountable by vote. So that's about as much as I'm going to say about that.
And Brian, I've got a minute before a break, sir.
A minute before, well,
all yours.
I mean, look, I think Jasper hit a lot of the notes that I would want to hit. At the end of the day, accountability is accountability. I think there was a good argument made backstage that, when you do something, you stand up and you take responsibility for it. And this long list of stuff that came along with the DUI, I mean, that's the thing that makes me question sort of his leadership. So I think to Megan's point, we're going to have an election, and this is certainly something that I would hope come up. And I think the voters will be able to make that decision whether they want to give him some grace or, hold him to account for breaking their trust. So that's
and with that, we'll put the ball in your court. We offer opinions, raise topics of conversation. You decide. We've got another topic when we come back. You're watching Nashville in Focus on Fox 17.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Our next topic, really the sprint for the 7th District congressional race. We've got Democrats, we've got Republicans, more Republicans than Democrats, probably 3-1. And the field is great right now. Let's just kind of scorecard here. Let's see. The GOP, well, none of it's going to get any larger because the deadline for filing is passed. Former State Representative Brandon Ogles, who jumped in at the last minute and said he was in, has now jumped out. He's not going to enter the race. There's some speculation he may run for mayor of Williamson County because Rogers Anderson, who's been over there for 25 years or a little more, has said he's going to retire. State Representative Jay Reedy of Aaron is out, and he is endorsing, is it Lee Reeves he's endorsing?
No, Gino Bolso.
Okay, that's right, Gino Bolso,
He endorsed Gino Bolso yesterday or the day before.
Who doesn't live in the 7th, he lives in the 5th, but if he wins, he's going to move, and the same thing for Afton Bain. She doesn't live in the 7th or the 5th. She's going to jump in if she does. Let's see. Jody Barrett of Dickson won the Williamson County straw poll. Rick, does that mean anything?
It doesn't really mean much because those are who can get the most people to one meeting. If we knew we were having a straw poll tonight and we were back in Jasper and we'd all go and vote for him, well, he'd have 4 votes walking in the door with him. And so
that helps.
It helps.
Well, we rode with him, so we have to vote for him.
but again, it's about who can get the most people to one meeting to vote for you. And so they really sound good. They look good on Facebook. They look good on your social media. At the end of the day, they won't mean much, and they certainly won't have the outcome the voters will have.
Sure, we're talking about it. Let's talk about the Democrats on the side. Afton Bain, I think it was Thursday night, was on CNN. Brian, how does one get on CNN? I mean, is that something the party helps candidates do, or does she do this herself? She seems to be very media savvy, and she is making a lot of noise among the Democrats on that side.
Sure. I mean, look. I think I get saved by my neutrality clause in my contract with the party.
I get it.
We're neutral arbiters here. We offer as much help as we possibly can to everybody. And, obviously, October 7th is going to be something that we're all watching with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. But for me, Election Day is December 2nd, and we're hoping to pull off something special because we've got 4 great people who are running for this seat right now. And, I mean, the energy that we're seeing out there, the excitement, I mean, this is something that as people are going to sit down for Thanksgiving dinner and start thinking about how they're going to spend their money on Black Friday,
their limited resources.
Yeah, and it's going to be right at the same time that bad ugly bill is really hitting people in their pocketbooks. So again, I'm excited about the 7th, and this primary because we've got such great people. But for me, December 2nd's the day. So.
Megan Lee, politics aside, because this is the kind of race it is, very few people are probably going to turn out. Anybody could win this thing.
It's wide open.
On either side.
It's wide open. I will say, I'm sad that we have that clause in your contract. I would love to know how suddenly people like Justin Pearson, Justin Jones, Afton Bain, they could just get on CNN and quick as that. I see it all the time.
Tennessee writes it for itself. Tennessee is the laughing stock in many cases when it comes to like politics. Because of some of the things that our elected leaders choose to do, or not do in some cases. And so it's easy to get that
like go with a bullhorn down to
You're saying the Republicans are giving you the club and daring you to hit them with it?
Do a protest?
Everything that they've done this past legislative session was like food for the left. Like it was food for MSNBC, CNN, and all those media outlets, and so and the more that they continue to like talk about banning books and revisiting same-sex marriage and and all these other cases that they're trying to rehash.
You don't think these activists aren't creating this dog and pony show on purpose? Are you going to just blame it on the red meat GOP politics?
That's exactly what happens.
I would say it's probably both.
Because if they didn't give it to them, then they wouldn't have anything. And that's what that's what a lot of the Democrats are, in the middle of the road. Moderate Democrats tell them all the time. You're giving them the food. You're giving them the meat.
Well, you talk about it sometimes, like when they decide, like the very first bill is going to be this, and it's like we got 100 things to talk about that are a lot more important than that. But
exactly.
that's your number one priority.
What you choose to do,
yeah.
and it's going to and it gives them that red meat.
Well, I will say this race, if you want to it is going to be a short race. It's going to be really close. If you want some more name recognition, which we know that Afton wants, we know that a lot of these people are trying to gear towards that. It doesn't really matter if you win. You're going to get a chance to kind of go and talk to the people, and I think that's why we see a wide race. I'm looking at Gino Balso, how much I hear he's going to spend a lot of money. Jody Barrett has been doing good on multiple straw polls, and he does do well amongst grassroots. He also did well where he's from. His constituents really like him.
He's like the most conservative member, I think he was voted by some group. I can't remember. We reported it here. I just don't remember.
Great at his press, but he's not showing up to debate. So we'll see what happens with that.
The Republicans, there are so many. I don't know. You could win with 8% maybe. I don't know. Goodness gracious, they're like 11 of them.
What I hear is 15 to 18%. That's what you'll end up with, 15 to 18%.
You had something, Brian. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I just want to come back on something. Like at the end of the day, Representative Bain.
You can call him by our first name. I know you all know each other.
We know each other. But
that's why you're here.
It keeps coming back to this fact that people keep pointing out the fact that folks want to elevate their status or running for something else by doing a thing. And at the end of the day, Representative Bain has stepped up consistently to serve her district, just like Representative Mitchell has, just like Representative Dixie has. And at the same time, Darden Copeland is coming out of the woodwork to say I've had enough of what I've seen, not just at the state level, but at the federal level, and come out against the type of playbook that we've seen, as Jasper referenced, where we've been living Project 2025 in Tennessee. The reason we don't have the same sort of gerrymandering situation that they have in Texas and Tennessee is they've already done it to us, which is why the 7th exists in its current time.
I've got to squeeze in a commercial break.
We're still looking how to break up Memphis. Okay.
Hang on, guys. I've got to take a break. More political talk when we come back on Nashville in Focus.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
Since last we were together, the Conservative Beacon Center released a poll that, among other things, had some numbers in the governor's race. They don't mean a great deal, a year out, but it had Marsha Blackburn, I think, let me look at the numbers, 66%, John Rose's 14%. But on the heels of that a couple days, and Marsha said a number of things, Bill Lee came out and said, I'm not going to endorse anybody. Your thoughts on that? I'm sure they both would love to have had an endorsement, and you wonder if Trump's going to sit this one out too. Okay,
he's Switzerland. He's remaining neutral. It would have. I don't know how much of it would have really impacted. We're looking at these numbers. Blackburn has great name recognition. Rose had he had a couple months to do anything he wanted, and he really, unless he's been going, out in rural communities, and we just haven't heard about it. Okay, so that might come back around. Yeah. So, but I am intrigued by the fact that we definitely know that we're not going to see Blackburn debate. And if I was Rose,
did you read that in Steve Gill's TriStar Daily?
I didn't. I watched the video, that interview.
I did too.
Yes.
Little radio station in Cleveland, Tennessee. She talked to. You tell them about what she said.
Well, she avoided the question, and this comes up every time. Yeah. And she's like, well, we go around and we talk to people in person. That works great. But if I was Rose, I would hold her feet to the fire on that one and try to,
She kind of said, I don't need to debate because I talk to Tennesseans every day.
Right.
It was about 14 minutes long. I listened to the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian, your thoughts? Does an endorsement from a sitting governor, would that have been helpful to one of these candidates?
I mean, I would assume so. I mean, obviously
Wouldn't
the governor is the governor, and he's been elected twice. But at the end of the day, I'm more shocked at the fact that there is shock around Senator Blackburn not showing up for a town hall or a debate or any sort of engagement in the public sector with folks. That's just that's her MO, it seems.
I know the Tennessean reported the other day that it's been 9 years since she offered herself in a public forum that she didn't control to take questions from people. You've talked about this previously.
I have. I've also met with her on a couple of occasions to discuss, some issues that are grave concern to me, and so. But it's just it's really unfair that I had to have those conversations in D.C. When a lot of people don't have the resources to go, to D.C.
knock on the door
and to knock on the door and to get that. To get that meeting. Now, one thing I would like to add, though, is that the Beacon Center poll, a full disclaimer, I tell people it's 1,200 voters. About 630 of them, I believe, are Republicans who answered this poll. And so I don't think that this swayed the governor's decision. I think that he's really waiting for Donald Trump to make his decision. And then he's going to fall lock in step with Donald Trump and endorsing the
you
next
think
governor.
He'll maybe endorse somebody later?
Oh, he will. He's going to endorse someone later,
of
but I
course,
think he's waiting for Donald Trump.
Rick is smiling. I know you have said what you think is going to be the key reason for Trump endorsing or not endorsing.
I truly don't think President Trump will get involved in the race simply because of the January 6th vote, where President Trump asked the Senate and the House both not to certify the elections of 2020. And Marsha Blackburn voted yes to go ahead and certify the elections. John Rose voted no, not to certify the elections. I don't see him getting involved. I really don't. I was with the governor last night. He cut the ribbon on the state fair. I got to see he and Maria, and I think the world of him. And I think you're right. Bill Lee would add some value to either candidate he endorsed. He and I haven't always agreed on every issue, but he's still a popular governor in our state, and he would add value. But I think he's doing the right thing. He's ready to go home, and he don't think he should put his finger on the scale and let it
I hate to, but on that note, I've got to squeeze in a commercial break. We will be right back. The time always goes so fast. Stay tuned.
You're watching Fox 17 News, Nashville in Focus.
In our final segment, the city leaders over in Mason, not far from Memphis in West Tennessee, voted a couple of days ago to enter into a contract with CoreCivic to open up a shuttered prison that would become one of these ICE detention facilities. On Friday, I believe it was, the ACLU said, hey, you didn't follow your own charter in doing this. You needed to have a majority, and you guys only had 3 yes, 2 no, and you needed to have at least 4 to. So maybe challenge. You wrote about this in the pamphleteer because I read about that. This is controversial. A lot of the folks didn't seem to want it, but the city leaders seem to realize there's money to be made there.
Yeah, there's layers of drama built into this, of course, when it involves the ICE at all, because we've seen these immigration enforcement operations across the state. There's a lot of people coming in, not even from the area, but from outside to protest these types of things, as we see often. But also, CoreCivic being involved, that's another touchy point. So we've got layers of drama, but then we have an Egyptian immigrant who is the mayor, who is like, this is good, it brings jobs, it's going to bring about 240 jobs to the area, we're a tiny little town, could really economically help us. This facility has been shut down for almost 4 years, let's put something in it. So he's looking at it as a business decision for the citizens, and then we have a lot of this pushback. Ultimately, they decided to go ahead and pass through this contract.
Now, what are the Democrats saying about this? I know that these ICE detention facilities are not at all popular with the party.
Well, it's not just that, but also Core Civic has a history of abuses and other things that goes on in facilities that they've run. That's why places like Nashville has ended our contracts with them, and so, but also I thought Megan was going to go into the deeper history of Mason, Tennessee. Mason, which we all saw started a couple of years ago when the comptroller went into Mason and was trying to take over Mason, Tennessee, because of its proximity to the Ford Blue Oval City. So no,
which has been pushed back, by the way.
Which has been pushed back again. Actually, I think I talked about that one. How they make all these promises about bringing jobs and factories, and
this
how
is
they
the second time
and how
Ford's pushed back like a
they
year.
Obviously they don't happen. But everybody wants to live in Tennessee.
I fear people don't want electric trucks, and Ford maybe.
Well, no, it's not this. No, it's not just that. No, it's not that.
Not that?
No, the current administration has ended the tax cut, your tax credit for them. So people are no longer will be receiving tax credits for EVs.
So you think that's
that's a huge
it's
deal
not an
with
incentive
that.
to buy one.
It's not an incentive to buy one right
Sure.
now, as it was before, as it was previously, which is why these companies were coming up. And so now you have cities like localities like Mason. They got to figure out how to fill the gap because your state government has let you down yet again.
Interesting.
So, well, I must say that Mason is the home of Lieutenant Governor Wilder, too, by the way. A lot of people don't know
John
that.
Wilder,
yeah,
sure.
John Wilder.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I'm sure the city's looking at it. This is an empty building. Now we can get work, get jobs, good jobs. They're going to be, I get it. And I would suspect most of the people protesting are not from Mason. They were from out somewhere else there to cause trouble and interrupt. But the mayor himself understands what jobs are. And also, I've been asking the same question you did, Jasper. What's going to happen to that plant? They can retool. Ford understood that might not work, and they're set to retool and build regular trucks.
We're going to have to leave it there. That's our time. I'll see you next week.